Picture an ordinary looking hole in the ground. Not dramatic canyon, not towering peak, just a quiet limestone hollow in the hill northwest of Johannesburg. The kind of place you do drive by without a second glance. Now picture this. That unremarkable hole has swallowed more pieces of human story than anywhere else on earth. For nearly 4 million years, it has been silently collecting skulls, bones, footprints, even fossilized brain cavities, sealing them in rocks and waiting for someone to come looking. Welcome to Sterkfontein, the cave that did not just witness human evolution, it buried it alive, locked it into stones, and held it for almost 2 million centuries. Scientists call this patch of South Africa countryside the richest humanoid site in the world. And here's the part that should give you chill. Every time someone swings a pickaxe down there today, they risk rewriting the chapter of our own species. So the real question isn't whether Sterkfontein has evidence left to give us. It's this: how many more chapters are still waiting for us to be revealed? To understand why this hole in the ground matters so much, we must rewind the clock. Not just past appetite, not just past the founding of Johannesburg, but back roughly 20 million years to a slow, patient act of geological vandalism, and the groundwater began dissolving the dolomite bedrock of this region, carving out chambers, tunnels, and sinkholes the way a sculpture hollow out the stone. Except this sculpture had millions of years and zero deadlines. The result was a labyrinth of caves stretching across what we now call the cradle of humankind, a UNESCO World Heritage Site about 40 km from Johannesburg. And cave, it turned out, makes excellent trap. Animals fell in, predators drag prey to ledge and drop the leftover. Water carries in sediments, bones, and the occasional unlucky creature that wandered too close to a hidden opening, plunged into darkness and never climbed back out. Layer after layer, centuries after centuries, the cave filled itself into a time capsule nobody asked for. What geologists call breccia, a natural cement of rocks and bones that harden around whatever fall inside it. Nobody alive today evidenced this, obviously. But here's the truth. The people who found this cave weren't the archaeologists. They were the miners. In the late 1800s, prospectors arriving hunting for limestone to feed the booming gold industries around Johannesburg. And they named the spot Sterkfontein Africana for a strong spring after a nearby water source. Blasted, they dug, they hauled out rock by the cartload, with absolutely no idea that they were quite literally dynamiting through the most important fossil deposit science had ever stumbled across. It would take decades, several scientists, and at least one career-defining gamble before the world understand what these miners had been standing on the entire time. Fontaine did not do this alone either. Scattered across the same stretch of Dolomite Hill, sister sites with equally loaded names, the Struck Cranes, Comrade, Malapa, each one adding its own fragment to the same unfolding story. Which is exactly why UNESCO eventually folded the entire region to a single World Heritage Site in 1999 and gave it a title that sounds almost too poetic to be real: scientific designation, the cradle of humankind. The first real clue did not come from the Sterkfontein itself. It came from a quiet lime work at a place called Taung, several hundred kilometers away. In 1924, an anatomist named Raymond Dart received a small fossilized skull pulled from the lime quarry, the skull of a child, just 2 or 3 years old when he died. Dart looked into the shape of the hole where the spine connects the brain and realized something extraordinary. It was an ape skull. The positioning suggests a creature that walked upright on 2 legs, the way we do. He named it Australopithecus africana, southern ape of Africa, and the world promptly laughed at him. European scientists at that time were convinced that the humanity's cradle lies in Asia or Europe, not in some unglamorous limestone quarry in the South Africa belt. Dart, Taung Child, was dismissed as an aberrant ape. He needed an ally. He needed an evidence, and he found both in a brilliant eccentric, dynamic loving doctor named Robert Broom. Broom became obsessed with proving Dart right, and in the August of 1936 he made his way to Sterkfontein, where lime worker had already been blowing fossil to pieces for decades, without realizing what they were destroying. Within a single week of his arrival, Broom found a fragment of an adult Australopithecus, finally proved that Dart's tiny ape child had grown up relative. Broom was by every account an unusual man, a doctor who reportedly examined fossils in former black suit, who once said he felt closer to long dead creatures than most living people, and who treated every discovery with the theoretical seriousness of a man uncovering buried treasure, because in his mind, that's exactly what he was doing. But Broom wanted more than fragments. He wanted a face, and in April of 1947, working alongside his young colleague John Robinson, he got one of the most famous faces in the history of science. The miner detonated a charge of dynamite in the brazier, and there, blasted nearly in the two of the explosion, sat a remarkably complete adult skull. Broom initially classified it as an entirely new species,